ambitions. We'll be going over Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, summaries. So let's get into it. Act 1, Scene 1, summary. Okay, the scene opens in Verona with a city fight between Capulet servants Samson and Gregory and Montague servants Abram and Balthazar. Benvolio tries to stop it, but Talbot arrives and starts fighting too. Soon both Lord Capulet and Lord Montague show up, and the chaos only ends when Prince Ascalon steps in and threatens death to anyone who disturbs Verona's peace again. So, the servants, Samson and Gregory, and Abraham and Balthazar are from the feuding families of the Montague and the Capulets. Lord Capulet and Lord Montague are the fathers of Juliet and Romeo. Prince Escalor is the authorities, more say like the government in Verona, Italy at that time. So after the fight, Lord Capulet and Lady Montague ask Benvolio about Romeo, who's been mopping around alone. Mopping is another word for sad or depressed. Romeo then tells Benvolio he is lovesick over Rosaline, who has vowed to stay single and who won't return his love. Benvolio suggests Romeo goes to the Capulet feast that night to see other girls and forget about her. Romeo agrees, mostly just to compare Rosaline to others. The scene introduces the main conflicts, the violent Montagues and Capulet feud, Prince Escalor's authority, and Romeo's dramatic, unrequited love for Rosaline, which sets him up to go to the Capulet ball, where he'll soon meet Juliet. So Romeo and Benvolio are cousins, and Romeo is lovesick over Rosaline as she will not return his love. So that is why he's sad and depressed and now is going to the ball. Act 1, Scene 2 summary. The scene opens at Capulet's house, with Paris asking Lord Capulet for Juliet's hand in marriage. Capulet thinks Juliet is still too young. She's only 13, but tells Paris to come to the feast that night so Juliet can see him and decide for herself. Capulet sends a servant with a guest list, but the servant can't read. He bumps into Romeo and Benvolio and asks them to read it for them. When they see it's for a Capulet feast, Benvolio persuades Romeo to go in disguise so he can compare Rosaline to other women and get over her. Meanwhile, Lady Capulet and the nurse talk to Juliet about marriage. Lord Capulet suggests Paris would be a good husband, and the nurse strongly agrees, reminding Juliet that she's old enough. Juliet is respectful, but not eager. She says she'll look to like Paris if she can, but won't promise to love him yet. So the scene highlights Paris asking Lord Capulet, Juliet's father, for her hand in marriage. It also highlights when the servant bumps into Romeo and Benvolio, asking about the Capulet ball, and this is also highlighting Juliet's intake on marriage. Scene 3 summary. This scene takes place in the Capulet house. Lady Capulet calls for Juliet to talk about marriage. and the nurse joins in. Lady Capulet is formal but directs. She brings up Paris, describing him as a noble and rich and handsome, and suggests Juliet to consider marrying him. The nurse is much more emotional and familiar with Juliet as she grew Juliet up. She tells long rambling stories from Juliet's childhood to prove how close they are, and she is clearly in favor of Paris. She keeps reminding Juliet that she is 13 and is a good age to marry. She was married by then herself. Juliet herself is quite obedient. For now, she tells her mother she hasn't thought about marriage, but she'll try to like Paris if he proves worthy at the feast. She makes no promises about love, only that she'll see how she feels. This scene shows the pressure Juliet is under to marry Paris. The nurse has a big influence on her, and how young and inexperienced Juliet still is, a contrast with Romeo's romantic idea of love that sets up Juliet's meeting with Paris at the feast. Act 1, Scene 4, Summary: Romeo, Mercutio, and Benvolio at their friends are going on the way to the Capulet feast in disguise, wearing masks. It's a masquerade ball. On the way, Romeo is in dark, dramatic mood and talks about having a bad dream that he thinks is a bad omen. Mercutio tries to lighten the mood with a famous Queen Mab speech, imaginative, descriptive of a fairy who brings people's dreams. It's playful, but also shows how Mercutio doesn't take love or fate seriously, unlike Romeo. Romeo still feels uneasy. He is fearful. Some consequences hanging in the stars. This is a line quoted from the play. This line that will start with the night and end in ultimate death. Still, the group decides to go in anyways, hoping to have fun. The scene builds tension right before Romeo meets Juliet. We see Romeo's fear of fate, Mercutio's wit and cynicism, and the foreshadowing that something bad will come from this feast. Act 5, Act 1, Scene 5, which is the last scene of this act. The Capulet's feast is in full swing. Romeo, Mercutio, and Benvolio arrive at the masquerade ball, but Tybalt recognizes Romeo's voice and is furious that a Montague is at the party. He wants to attack him, but Lord Capulet stops him, saying he won't cause trouble in his house and that Romeo seems well behaved. While the dancing happens, Romeo sees Juliet for the first time and instantly forgets about Rosaline. He calls her beautiful and is struck by love at first sight. Juliet notices him too. They meet and share a sonnet-like dialogue and then kiss. Twice. All without knowing each other's names. The nurse later tells Romeo that Juliet is a Capulet, and Juliet learns Romeo is a Montague. Both are shocked and upset because of their family food. As the party ends, Capulet invites guests to come again, but the mood shifts. Romeo and Juliet have met and they've fallen in love, and now it's considered forbidden. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe.